Unit 4, Lesson 2. So dividing integers. So the rules for dividing integers are exactly the same as multiplying. So we don't have to go through proving it all again today. But I wanted to start off by showing you the different ways to show division. Again, when you were first introduced to division when you were young, you learned the division symbol with the line and the two dots. Okay, so this was probably how you saw it first in 3rd or 4th grade. And then when you learned how to do long division, you saw it using what you probably called the house, right? And that helped you to do harder division problems. Okay? Now you're used to seeing fractions and you're used to seeing the slash. Now, when you see the slash or the fraction bar, your brain just automatically sees a fraction. Okay? It is also division. So in algebra, you will not see the line with the two dots. You will always see a fraction. So that's why I put a heart there. So when you see 10 over 2, it really means 10, 10, and then the bar means divided by, and then 2, which we know is 5. If you were to turn this into a long division problem with the house, the top number, or the numerator, is always the number that goes inside, or the dividend, and the denominator is always the divisor. Okay. Kids like to just put the bigger number inside the house, right? It's not always the bigger number. It's whichever is on top. And if you think about it, the top number falls inside. Think about it. The top number falls in. That's one way you can think about it. Okay, and we'll do a little more on that as we go. So let's jump to our next slide, which is going to bring us back to those rules. Okay, same signs give you positive answers, different signs give you negative answers. So let's take a look at the positive answer box. We have a positive divided by a positive is a positive. Here, don't forget that even though it looks like a fraction, it's division. So we have a negative 10 divided by a negative 2 gives us a positive, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive, right? Same signs, positive answer. And on the right, we have negative answers because we have a negative 10 and a positive 2, or a positive 10 and a negative 2. Signs are different, so we have different answers. A reminder, the answer to a division problem is called a quotient. Quotient. Okay. This is just that same that same slide from the last lesson, the visual that shows you same sign positive, different sign negative. Now, this is important, the placement of a negative sign, right? Negative fractions. So you could have the negative sign in the numerator, like we have right here. You could have the negative sign in the denominator, or you could have the negative sign right in the middle next to the fraction bar. Either way, notice there is only one negative sign. So the signs are different. One is positive, one is negative. If this third option confuses you, you can always just move it up into the numerator. It's easiest when it's up in the numerator, okay? So again, if you see something like this, negative 1/2, know that you could always change this to negative 1 over 2, right? Actually, you could also do 1 over negative 2. You can put that negative number anywhere, that negative sign anywhere, okay? So I just wanted to point out that it's all the same. All right, let's just jump right to examples here. Okay, so here are some examples. Let's look at our first problem. We have negative 90 divided by 30. So first, let's deal with the signs. The signs are different, so we're going to have a negative answer. Let's go through all of these. In number 2, the signs are the same, so we're going to have a positive answer. I'm just going to put that there as a symbol for positive. and the signs are different, so it's going to be a negative answer. Now we can go back and do the division. 90 divided by 30 is 3. Right? Remember some shortcuts? We could chop off those zeros, right? If we divide by 10, and then we can say 9 divided by 3 is 3. 24 divided by 8 is also 3. And 36 divided by 6 is 6, right? And we can double check it. 6 times 6 is 36. 8 times 3 is 24. 30 times 3 is 90. All right? All right, now in some problems, you might have to use long division. All right? So let's say we had a problem like this. Well, let's deal with our answer first. We know a negative times a negative is going to give us a positive. So now we don't have to worry about the signs. So I just wanted to give you a little refresher on how to do long division. First number goes inside the house. Second number goes outside. And if we forget the steps, if you can remember, does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? D for divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. Right? So if you're someone who gets stuck with long division, I would suggest that you do this. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? And as you do each step, we'll check them off. So let's see. We have 3 numbers here, so I need 3 numbers in my answer. So let's see. First, we're going to start with divide. Does 2 go into 1? No, it does not. So I'm going to put a 0 there. I'm going to keep going until I can divide. Does 2 go into 14? Yes, it does. It goes 7 times. So there's my division. Now let's multiply. 7 times 2 is 14. Let's check that off. The S stands for subtract. 14 minus 14 is 0. Did that. Check means make sure that the 0 is less than the 2. So then after you subtract, the number has to be smaller than the divisor. And then B for bring down the 2. All right, let's start again now because I'm not done. I have an empty space up here. So let's divide. How many times does 2 go into 2? Goes in once. Now I'm going to multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. I'm going to subtract. 2 minus 2 is 0. I'm going to check. 0 is less than 2. Good. And if you look, there's nothing to bring down, and there's no more lines, so I am done. So my answer is 71. Okay, let's try another one. All right, negative 846 divided by 3. Well, the signs are different, so my answer is going to be negative. Let's set up our problem. All right. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? We have 3 numbers here. 3 goes into 8 twice. Multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract 2. Check. 2 is less than 3. Bring down the 4. Got to keep going. 3 goes into 24 8 times. Multiply. 8 times 3, 24. Subtract 0. Check. 0 is less than 3. And I still have something to bring down, this 6. I have to keep going because I still have an empty space here. 3 goes into 6 twice. Check here. 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to subtract. I get 0. And there's nothing to bring down. So my answer is 282. 282. And I already decided that my answer was negative because the signs are different. Okay, so negative 282. Let's see. Okay, now lastly, a problem like this looks so complicated, but it's really not. Let's just put together our last 2 lessons. All right. First, we're going to look at parentheses because when you were in 5th grade, you did PEMDAS or GEMMA, right? And you learned to do parentheses first. So let's do this. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. So we just simplified that set of parentheses. It was just division. Now let's simplify this set of parentheses. Negative 6 divided by positive 2. Well, the signs are different, so they're negative. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. If you remember from lesson 1, 2 parentheses next to each other with nothing in the middle means multiply. So a negative times a negative is a positive, and 5 times 3 is 15. So my answer is 15. Good. Now look at example 7. Right away when we look at this, it looks scary. We see fractions, we see parentheses, we see negatives. But let's look closer. In this set of parentheses, it's just division. It's negative 30 divided by 5. Okay, so we're going to do 30 divided by 5 is 6, and the signs are different, so it's negative. Okay, we're always going to do parentheses first, remember. And then a negative 2 divided by a negative 2. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So let's bring down that in parentheses. And now I'm going to multiply, and I get a negative 6. So our answer is negative 6. So don't be scared by the way things look sometimes. Just look at it very closely and see if you can find something familiar. And that's all we have for this lesson.